I've been seeing a lot of variation of this, right? Diagnosing this creator, Kendra, with every kind of personality disorder, other disorder, and people kind of nudging me one way or another to say, like, Dr. Alfar, why don't you just say she has BPD or she has histrionic personality disorder? And it is unethical for somebody in mental health to comment on somebody else's mental status in public. And this all started in 1964. There was a presidential candidate named Barry Goldwater, and in 1964, this magazine, Fact Magazine, published this article in which they polled psychiatrists about whether he was fit to be president. He ended up suing and won this equivalent amount, which led to the creation of something called the Goldwater Rule, which is in Section 7 of the APA's Principle of Medical Ethics, which states psychiatrists have a responsibility to participate in activities contributing to the improvement of that community and the betterment of public health. However, when asked to comment on public figures, they shall refrain from diagnosing, which requires a personal examination and consent. This is the APA, the American Psychological Association's standard on it. You could take a look here and screenshot it. But aside from the fact that it is against the medical ethics of each of these bodies to publicly diagnose somebody, it's also, majority of the time, not going to be correct. Look, the existence of that rule supposes that psychiatrists or other mental health professionals have some special ability to pick up on psychiatric diagnoses out in the wild. You know, I like interact with the cashier at Starbucks and I know that they have OCD. Now look, do I make observations about people just like everybody else? Yes, of course I do. But I will tell you something I've noticed as I've gained more experience as a psychiatrist, and this is personal. Back in my early days in residency, when I knew everything, obviously, I thought I had a pretty good idea about how to diagnose people just from kind of like hearing tidbits or stories or, little parts. Sometimes I was right, and a lot of times I was wrong. As you gain more experience in mental health, you come to the conclusion, shockingly, that people are pretty complicated. And that diagnoses are a variable thing and they exist in different positions and contexts and economic situations and political situations and social situations. It's almost like the Dunning-Kruger effect with diagnostics. Early on, if you first learn about something, you think you could see it everywhere. As you gain more experience with it, you realize it's better to withhold judgment. So if you're a mental health professional, don't diagnose anyone publicly, not just because it's ethically incorrect. It's also because you're probably going to be wrong. That's just my 2 cents.